This is the We Get Outdoors outdoor business promo, where we get to introduce you to some characters, legends, brains, brawn from some of the leading outdoor and adventure gear brands. It's your chance to get a real behind the scenes look into what is happening today and in the future. And today we have a first. I've interviewed the same person a few times to delve deeper. And I get an absolute honor and a privilege today because not only do I get to delve deeper with somebody who fascinated me on the first interview, but I'm also going to learn about a complementary business that is adding so much value to all the visitors to Mammoth. So welcome back, Mr. Clay Tyson.
Great to be back.
So 6 questions in under 60 minutes. We are going to be talking about a very cool sport that I love, but living in Africa makes it a little bit different. But with my move to Europe, back to Europe next year, I am going to be doing what we're going to be talking about. Clay, on the 30th of December, I am going to be on the ski slope. So, Clay, who are you and why should we care?
I'm Clay Tyson. I own Ground Up Climbing Guides, Skin Up Ski Tours, and Pedal Up Bike Tours. Today, we're focusing on the ski tours, but I mentioned those other companies because who I am is really about creating an on-ramp for the new and novice adventure seeker to get outside in the Mammoth Lakes region.
It is. I love how you articulate that as well. How you know exactly who it is that you are serving, and you know exactly what kind of experience you're going to give people who engage with you across their feet, their skis, and their bikes. So let's talk about Skin Up Ski Tours. I'm fascinated to learn more about this business. So what should our listeners know about Skin Up Ski Tours?
Well, I tell you, the first thing they should know is that the entry into backcountry skiing is a pretty big jump in terms of risk level and some of the skills that we need to get out there. So it's a little bit different of a guiding environment and experience for the guest. The real thing that you would want to know is that we focus on folks here around the Mammoth region. They're very familiar with the area. They've seen it. They've looked at these mountains. They've never been able to reach them. And now we're giving them the skills they need to get out there on their own to explore the mountains away from the crowds. You are
selling it to me, that especially that end bit, because I think that's something that a lot of us are seeking when we go out. We're seeking a few things. We're seeking the ability to either experience something new in terms of skills or develop our skills. We're hoping that we're going to do it in a very, very safe environment, which has got fun at the core of it. And we're doing it in a very peaceful space away from the crowd. So I think you're ticking all those 3 boxes. So you're not the only company out there in US and Canada that's offering this kind of ski tours. What do you think is it that sets Skin Up Ski Tours apart from the other competitors?
That's a great question. I compete in this market area with 4 other fairly large and prominent guide services. And what we do in the field is not dramatically different. Forgive me, my alarm just went off. Is not dramatically different from what those other companies do. The way we approach client care might be a little bit different. We are very focused on easing that way into the sport for the guest. The other thing that we focus on, all the companies do this, but we really, even on a one-day trip, you're going out for one day, you would just want to get a taste for this. We're going to give you a lot of avalanche safety information and develop some skills in terms of rescue, search and rescue, that sort of thing. It's not going to be a huge part of your day, but we're still going to give you a lot of those skills. The one thing I wanted to back up a second and talk about backcountry skiing in general, you touched on a little bit about being out in the wilderness. One thing that when I started backcountry skiing, well, first of all, I looked at a perfectly operating ski lift and I said, wait a second, I could ride that to the top. Why do you want me to skin uphill? Why do you want me to hike uphill? Why do you want me to do that? And then I realized I needed to shift my thinking and think of backcountry skiing as an awesome hike in terrain that is inaccessible, that has a bonus of a couple ski runs on the end. And when I shifted my thinking, that idea of using these skills that a guide service can give us to get out into the wilderness, to enjoy that space that's inaccessible in the wintertime, and then get some awesome powder runs on the end.
You are ticking a lot of boxes for people who are listening, going, so I get to go and experience the wilderness. I get to places that are inaccessible, and I get to do some pretty good runs at the end. There's a few people going, Dick, where do I sign up?
I should add, it's a lot of work. It's not all easy. Going uphill ain't easy.
Burst the bubble now, Clay. There's people that are going, I was in, but now you expect me. You mean that you don't carry me up there? How rude. What kind of client care is that? You tell me client care, but now you make me.
That's right.
So let's obviously you've given us a really good background in terms of what Skin Up Ski Tour does. You've also given us a really good insight in terms of where you focus on. And I think what you said is you focus on two key parts of it. One is the before they arrive, which is that client care. And then the second thing is give them something to go home about that's going to make them smile for weeks on end afterwards. So I think but again, as you said, there's four other companies out there who are always trying to copy you, take your clients, take your customers, and it's the ultimate source of flattery to be copied. But what's the big secret thing that you are working on the moment that keeps you front and center that your customers are going to love?
Okay. Depending on our audience over time, I may ruffle some feathers, so strap in. One of the biggest calls any guide service will get for wintertime is avalanche safety courses. There's a governing body, a nonprofit that doesn't regulate, what's the word, that organizes that instructional training on a formal level. In order to offer that as a guide service, there's a lot of hurdles that one needs to jump to offer those courses. Secondly, guides that teach those courses are doing it on the weekend when I need them. So it takes guides from me under the umbrella of the organization yet. Right now, I don't want to. So what I'm going to do is develop a 3-day program. Most avalanche safety courses are 2 days. I'm going to develop a 3-day program, which covers all of the curriculum of those avalanche courses, right? But in a way that spreads out the curriculum over 3 days. People cover more terrain. They see more varied terrain. They learn more in the field instead of the classroom. And they just round out their experience more and really leave with a much more well-rounded mountain sense than they might get from a 2-day avalanche course. That's not to say that a 2-day avalanche course isn't awesome and everybody should do it. But I can tell you, you can't get into them right now. They're sold out, they're filled up, and the guide services do not have enough guides to teach them. We are going to fix that problem.
Not only are you going to fix the problem, it sounds like you are going to take it from a course, which can be viewed as something that one has to do, into an experience that someone wants to do.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And when they leave that course, they will be, and this would happen on an avalanche course. I don't want to dumb down those avalanche courses at all, right? But they will leave this 3-day session with, like I said, a much more holistic mountain sense and almost philosophy, if you will. And I think, we haven't done it yet, right? So I'm supposing here, but I really think they're going to leave feeling like they are now backcountry skiers who happen to ski on a resort every now and then, instead of resort skiers who happen to backcountry ski every now and then.
Yeah, so it's a mind shift change that people are going to come back after 3 days as well, which, like you said, it's almost impossible to have that kind of mind shift change when you're spending time in the classroom. The only way you can have that mind shift change is actually out there experiencing it and getting the confidence. You don't get the confidence. You get the theory in the classroom, but you don't get the confidence.
And don't let me misinform you. There is outdoor sessions in those 2-day courses. They are outside, but it's a little bit more, hey, let's work and study instead of let's go explore the mountains and learn as we explore. Yeah. You see what I mean? I don't want to misrepresent what they do.
I hear you. It's the reality's time is your constraint. So there's only so much you can do in 2 days, and there's only so much you can do in 3 days.
That's right.
Just the reality. Okay, so let's move away from Skin Up Tours and all the exciting things that you currently do and you've got planned. And I read this is the bit that I find I learn so much when I speak to people like you who've got a lot of experience in the outdoors. We're going through a very interesting time in the outdoors with probably some of the outdoors being the busiest it's been in a long, long time. The outdoors being front and center in a way that it's never been done. Obviously, we've just had that big global conference around climate as well. So what do you believe is the future of the outdoors and the outdoor industry?
That growth, wow, it's real exciting from where I sit and from where we sit here in Mammoth, but it does scare everybody. It's funny. It's kind of when you live in a mountain town, there's a pendulum that swings between we don't have enough people in town, we're going to starve, and oh my God, get all these people out of there, they're trampling our bushes and shrubs. So, and that's never going to end. That's the way it's going to be. I really believe, I hope, and I believe that there is a renewed sense of human-powered adventure in terms of experiencing the outdoors. Meaning, I think folks are getting out of their RVs and they're doing some hiking. I can tell you, on getting down to a little bit of a micro issue, e-bikes are an interesting issue. And I don't know whether you want to get into that. That's more of a micro than macro, but that's something that we're dealing with here in Mammoth Lakes. And I got to tell you, I think for the most part, e-bikes are the most wonderful thing on the planet for the human race, because it's going to get all these people out of their cars and into the air and experience these things. But bikes that are getting torn up by people who are ignoring that. So those are the issues that are always going to be there. Now, the future, I see nothing but growth. We're going to have, as our economy continues to evolve, everybody's going to have more leisure time over the course of history. And they're going to just hopefully have the money to get out and enjoy it. One thing that does concern me, and I deal with this within my company, the costs associated with getting people outside can be really prohibitive. I got to tell you, I am, in terms of, I'm not going to talk about the skiing right now because I can't accurately, but in terms of the climbing, I am definitely the cheapest guy in town. And I still feel like I'm charging too much. I do not want the barrier to entry to be too high, because I think there's too many valuable things to learn. That being said, it's hard to make a living as a mountain guide, and I want my guides to make money, and they need to be able to survive in this mountain town. If we can't pay our rent, we're not going to be here to take you out skiing next month. Yeah. Is that answering your question? That I kind of rambled around the bush for a bit there.
No, definitely. I think it's the balance and the responsibility that I think we've got to get right. It's the balance between welcoming all these people who have thought about the outdoors but are now active in the outdoors. And then it's the responsibility of all of us, especially those of us in the outdoor industry, to educate as many of those people that while it's great that you are in the outdoors, by you coming outdoors, you're now accepting a responsibility that you have to do something that's going to maintain the outdoors for future generations. And that's the balance. And that's a great example with the e-bikes. That's the balance we've got to have.
Yeah. I think along with that is we need to keep, me as a professional, I absolutely must, but I think all should be more aware of the role that our land managers play. Whenever rules get instituted, like a lot of people are really freaked out when this is COVID related and not, it is outdoor industry generally, I should say, but when the national parks had to limit entry over the course of COVID, people were freaking out and everything. And it's like, you know what? They need to do what they need to do to manage that land, right? And we have to understand this can be summed up pretty easily. When we struggle with crowds outside and what that looks like and all these people out in the woods, we have to remember, and I didn't create this, so I can't claim it. No single raindrop believes that they are the cause of the flood. Okay. We are out there in the woods. We're enjoying it. If there's a ton of people out there doing it with us and it bothers us and they're trashing the place, well, you know what? We're part of that. Everybody needs to join together and take responsibility. 100%. So whether it's picking up trash or being respectful to the Park Service employees who are trying to manage this land for us, it's really all comes down to it. And you kind of hinted that at the very beginning. It really all just comes down to personal responsibility.
So let's expand that as we wrap this up. So we've got, and I think it'd be interesting in terms of I'm going to change the final question a little bit, if you don't mind, Clay, because we've touched a little bit on the question I was going to ask you, which is, what's the message that you want people who are experiencing the outdoors to remember? We've talked a lot about personal responsibilities. We've covered that, but I want to go back to wrap up a little bit about Skin Up tours and Ground Up guides, because I want to ask you, what is the message that you want all your clients to go home with after they've experienced time with one of your companies? What's the experience, the message? What do you want them to leave with?
You don't have enough time on our podcast. I got to tell you, everything we do has such a personal relationship component to it. My guides and myself, our guests leave with a personal relationship with us. And honestly, that is very valuable to me, because when we have an emotional relationship to an experience, it's going to stay with us longer. And if that person can leave and think back about and have these, even because of their relationship with me or one of my guides, then it's just going to be a much more rich and long-lasting experience. The other thing I really want people to take away is this idea that our minds and our bodies are intricately connected, right? And we have abilities to do amazing physical things if we just get our mind to cooperate.
Awesome. That is a very, very cool message for all clients that engage with Clay to leave with. So I would encourage all of you to go and check out Clay and Skin Up Ski Tours by visiting their awesome website, which has photos that really annoyed me, to be honest, Clay, because I just wanted to be out there now. So
it's what I do best.
Yeah, I'm not your biggest fan at the moment, to be honest. But all the details of Skin Up Ski Tours will be in the description below. So Clay, thank you for your time today. It's always a pleasure listening to you and listening how you're really building an experience for your clients. So as you go into towards your big season now, when the snow starts coming, I wish you an incredible 2022 season for you, your guides, and Skin Up Ski Tours.
Well, Mark, I can tell you, it's only been my pleasure, and we've already gotten some snow in Mammoth, so we're hoping for big things.